Welcome everybody back to BeamNG.drive, and today we're dealing with the Ibishu hopper. This is the XT-6 version that was produced between 1991 and 1996. It's the base model of the 4-litre inline-6 version, which has 162 horsepower and 221 pounds-feet of torque, weighs 3,362 pounds, has auto gearbox, 4-wheel drive, locking diffs and a low-range gearbox. And it can do 0 to 60 in 8.1 seconds, 0 to 133.8 seconds, and go on to a top speed of 105 miles an hour. So this should be quite tough. It's got great ground clearance, it's got the all-wheel drive system, so yeah, it shouldn't break too easily. But then again, we've probably said that about other vehicles before, and that hasn't been the case. But yeah, this also has a body-on-frame construction, so yeah, no unibody stuff here, so the bodywork could theoretically come completely off, which we've done before in previous videos with cars. Not necessarily that we reviewed, but in terms of the you know, how the Will It Survive series, or when we decapitated a bunch of vehicles on this map on its own video, we saw plenty of cars that could be stripped of their bodywork completely. So yeah, this is definitely one of those, and yeah, it's also got a canvas roof, so that is liable to crush in if we roll over, which we will be doing at least on the rollover sled test after we've smashed it around the suspension circuit to see how much punishment it can take before it breaks. It doesn't have anti-lock brakes, that's not available on this base model. It is available on the slightly one above this, but I think we would go for something a bit more agricultural and yeah, a bit more simple. Well, it's dealing with everything okay so far. I've only landed on our side once, so well, twice now. Kind of jinxed myself there now, didn't I? Suspension does look like it's lowered a little bit at the front, which I guess would be no surprise given what we've punished this through so far. Suspension overall is quite tough though. I have pummeled this to death in previous times on my own. The steering does seem to be a bit out of shape though now. It's pulling really rather heavily to the left, which is not helpful when you're trying to keep control. Yeah, let's just go in a straight line. Yeah, it's pulling to the left quite a bit. In fact, it's not even let us turn left all that much either. What's gone on with the steering then? I think we've lost most of our steering, to be honest. That ain't good, is it? Yeah, we don't have any real control over this whatsoever. Oh dear. Yeah, those wheels are not moving at all. Well, that's a bit of a shame, really, because I was hoping it would last longer than that, but unfortunately the steering is seemingly the weak point of this car, which is a bit of a shame that we didn't get to see more of this fall apart, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. So let's get over to other side of the map where we're going to do the rollover crash test. We're going to crash into a couple of explosive barrels, and then we'll crash into a cinder block wall. Let's see what happens with the rollover test. So we'll be doing this 3 times, but obviously if it can't make all 3 times, then obviously it'll be a failure. This does obviously have quite a high ride height, high centre of gravity, so it should roll over quite nicely. Whether or not it's going to survive those rollovers, we'll have to see. Given that the steering went before, the wheels are obviously my main concern, given how exposed they are with their high ride height and quite soft suspension. I'd be surprised if the roof stays on, given it's canvas and you can roll it back. Well, at least it stayed upright and for now has survived, although that roof is of concern. Oh dear. My fault there. Bit over exuberant with the accelerator. Ooh, heavy hit on the side there. Still going? Yep. Yeah, the roof is really peeling away now. It's not going to offer much more protection, but it's not much more damage than what it got last time, to be honest. So, yeah, let's see if it can survive one more go. If anything's going to fail this time, it is going to be that roof. But I am surprised by how strong the windscreen is, given how many times that's been landed on, and it hasn't crushed in like so many other convertibles or soft tops have done. Yeah, that has survived remarkably well. Yeah, I am surprised. I was expecting that canvas roof to completely come off at some point. And yeah, the wheels have survived, unlike before. So yeah, overall, a really rather solid pass there. Still steers fine. Still drives alright. It's not even really pulling at all to the left or the right. It is pulling slightly, I think, but not so severely that it's uncontrollable. Right. Let's get in line for these barrels. And then we'll see if we can survive them. So let's get over there. Now this is a unibody, no, sorry, a body on frame construction, so I'm expecting the body to fly off or be destroyed quite severely. Oh yes, lost the front fenders, the bonnet has peeled upwards. We're going to land on the front. Not often that happens, to be honest. Well, we've been heavily damaged, clearly. I really don't think this is going to drive all that well. Yeah, one of the wheels isn't even touching the ground anymore. So that's not really a car that's drivable. But in terms of safety and passenger, you know, comfort and everything, that seems to have gone fine. No idea why it's shaking. It's a bit weird. But yeah, the roof has survived and the overall passenger compartment has survived. So that's another pass. So let's see if we can handle the cinder block wall. Ooh. Yeah, that's peeled the roof back a bit, and it looks like cinder blocks are trying to get inside, which would obviously be a bit of a danger, but the car overall seems to have survived that. We've lost one of our diffs, so I'm not sure if we're rear or front wheel drive anymore. Or no wheel driver by the sounds of it. Nope, nothing is working. I think it's completely broken. Oh, I've just pressed something that I shouldn't be pressing, but whatever. Yeah, that's not going to move anymore, but yeah, passenger safety is overall solid again. Only concern is the roof peeling back even more and letting any of the debris inside, but yeah, overall a pass there. So yeah, past the rollover, the explosive barrels and the cinder block wall there. Didn't pass the suspension aspect because obviously the steering went fairly quickly, so yeah, that's a bit of a fail, but yeah, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. So let's get onto the crash hall and see what this does with small overlap crash tests at 30, 40 and 60 miles an hour. Right, so here we are at the crash hall, so let's see what happens at 30 miles an hour for a small overlap crash test. Imagine it'll do fine here. Most cars generally do at 30. It's not a particularly fast impact. Yeah, that's fine. Obviously the car's taken a fair bit of damage, but everyone inside would have been fine with that. Yeah, I'm satisfied with that. The roof has come up a little bit, but that's no surprise given it's canvas. It's going to be a bit more flexible than a hard roof. Right, so let's see 40 miles an hour. Now this is going to be the concern here, because if it's at all bad here, then it's going to be infinitely worse at 60. Slow it down a bit, because this is not the easiest car to keep in a straight line for some reason. Let's just veer off to the left, right even. Oh dear, that's my fault, I do apologise. Yeah, it likes to wander a fair bit. No idea why. This is a bit of a difficult one to keep consistent, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not satisfied with that being 100% dead on, so I'm afraid we're going to have to try one more time. So yeah, I'm letting off this steering now, and as you can see it's moving over to the left, then it moves over to the right quite severely for whatever reason. We're not accelerating or anything, so I don't know why. Maybe we'll use the fact it moves over to the right to its advantage to let it move over. Yeah, that's a bit more dead on, that is. That's actually not much worse than last time. Yes, the front has taken way more damage. The wheel has completely popped up off the ground. We've lost a fender, the bumper, or no, the fender and the wheel arch even, and yeah. But the roof hasn't really gone up anymore. The door really hasn't moved all that much extra either. And yeah, overall safety inside seems to be okay. So yeah, I'm surprised by how little difference between 30 and 40 there is there. Usually there is a difference. So yeah, let's see what happens at 60. I'm now thinking that this is going to be either really good or really bad, because I was expecting 40 mile an hour to give some indication about what it's going to do here, but it hasn't. So ooh. Well, the door's come off, and the steering wheel has jutted way upwards. It's nearly touching the roof. So yeah, safety has definitely been compromised there with the door coming off and the steering wheel moving up and out of the way, meaning the driver would hit the steering wheel or the steering column or the dashboard rather than the airbag. Yeah, that is quite disastrous. So yeah, 60 mile an hour is a fail there, but 30 and 40 were surprisingly a flying success, really. So yeah, but again, 60 mile an hour it claims another car, which I guess overall no surprise there. Nonetheless, let's get onto the highway and see what this does against two cars that are similarly weighted and similarly sized, and then one that really isn't. Right, so here we are at the highway. So yeah, we're going to go up against the Gavril Barstow inline 6 version. Two reasons: one, it's only 11 pounds lighter than this, and it's also another inline 6. So yeah, let's see what we can do, if we can survive this or not. As per usual, 60 miles an hour for both cars, if this one can get up to 60 miles an hour. Does seem quite pedestrian. And again, most 60s inline 6 cars were. Alright, ooh, big impact. Ow. I'd be surprised if either driver survived that, to be honest. Yeah, that was quite severe. Then again, a 60 mile an hour impact between two cars would generally be that bad. Yeah, the Barstow is dead, and yeah, the hopper there would be quite dead as well. Yeah, both failed there, but obviously we're more interested in the hopper, and the hopper has definitely failed. The steering wheel is in the seat, and yeah, everything's moved forward as well. So yeah, that is a bad impact there. So yeah, that is a shame. Right, let's see if we can find something again that's similarly weighted. I think the Solead Wendover. 3583, 3594, maybe not. Maybe considerably heavier than I realised. I forgot how heavy that was. Still, that's one of my favourite favourite original base game cars that BeamNG themselves have created. What about a fellow Ibishu? No, these are way too light. 200BX is easily one of the lighter cars on this game. Let's go for this grandiose V6 Legrand. It's a little bit heavier, but then again the Barstow was a little bit lighter, so I guess it's only fair, really. So let's see what we do up against a luxury station wagon. I think we've actually reviewed this already, this Legrand, so I think it really is going to surprise us in terms of its crashing worthiness. Oh, the Legrand there got away with that fairly well, but the hopper again did not. Yeah, that was quite severe. Again, the steering wheel is in our lap, and obviously the dashboard has moved forward. The doors have popped open again, not helpful. So yeah, another failure for the hopper there. Seems to do fine in normal kind of crash tests, you know, rollover and small overlap. But when it comes to actually being up against cars, it seems to be a lot, yeah, less impressive. So let's see what happens when we go up against something far heavier and yeah, somehow even less suitable. We've been with a Roma a fair bit, but I think this is one of the best cars to kind of go for, to be honest. But I think we went in one of them last time, so I think we'll go for a van this time. Yeah, let's go for a RV. Might not even get up to 60, but whatever. It's nearly £8,000, which is obviously significantly heavier than we are. That's more than twice the weight that we are. No idea if that thing's going to be coming in at me at the right angle, but we'll have to just position the hopper right. Actually, it's running fairly true and straight. unlike the hopper, which is going to be slightly off, which is fine. Doubt it'd make a difference considering, yeah, it's just been melted by the RV. And the RV is not a perfectly perfect crash-worthy car or vehicle, but it's certainly done better than we have. Let's just try that dead on, to see if it's any better. That did seem a bit unfair on the hopper to not be completely protected. Yeah, no difference. Still massively devastating for the hopper, to the point where it's been lifted up off the air, or out into the air. Yeah, that's bad. But then again, given that it was bad against two cars that are pretty much the same weight as it, then that's no surprise. The RV in that one got away with that fine. Yeah, more dead-on crashes, that one's fine. But the hopper, yeah, that is pretty bad. So, yeah, not the best of vehicles that we've tried out. It wasn't particularly, you know, engineering-wise, particularly tough on the grid map. Its steering went fairly quickly. But in terms of the other tests, it was fine. Rollover, explosive barrels, and the cinder block wall, it was fine. Pretty damn good, especially in terms of the rollover test. And then the 13-40 mile an hour small oval crash test, it was fine, but the 60 mile an hour one was, yeah, pretty awful. And all three of the crash tests here have been bad as well. So, yeah, that's only unfortunately a 5 out of 10. Which is not great when you can think about it, but yeah, could be a lot worse. But yeah, obviously being quite an old, you know, off-roader, even in terms of the 90s, it was quite out of date, or it would have been quite out of date. Then yeah, it's no real surprise that it's quite bad in terms of crash testing. Nonetheless, thanks for watching though, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.